This is the LZR Project, an episodic story series by David N. Alderman. The LZR Project takes place within David's Expired Reality universe and serves as a prequel to the main novels in his Expired Reality series. You can find out more about David's Expired Reality series at davidnalderman.com. Episode number 34, Thursday, May 21st, 1998. David Corbin gazed out his office window at the city of Lysalis. Neon and taillights spread across the dark horizon, splattering the skyscrapers and office buildings with bursts of color. To David, Lysalis had become more than just a city. It had become a person, a tortured person. At night, Lysalis puts on a show, revealing the sultry female vixen she really is. Her neckline sparkles with cloisters of neon color, buzzing in the night with a tune that all her denizens know by heart. Stockings of taillights and street lamps cover her slender legs. Her hair, a beehive of skyscrapers, reaches to the starry sky and hopes to flaunt her beauty to all of Venetia. Her scent is arresting, a mix of sex and blood. Her eyes, the very life of Lysalis, look upon her tenants with ferocity and playfulness. In the comfort of darkness, Lysalis desires intimacy with her murderers, her lovers, and her protectors, touching them tenderly with hands made of sin and glamour. But during the day, when light pierces her spirit, Lysalis abandons her audience and, crippled and torn, rests her eyes, shutting them to the noise of herself, while her alley veins carry the toxic blood of her playthings, killing her from the inside. Her denizens speak crassly to her in a cryptic curse, tattooing colorful discourse across her brick and cement skin. In the end, Lysalis is betrayed by those she shelters, her spirit injected with litter and filth, her flesh marred with man's uncontrollable ego. David realized his love wasn't just for Carrie, it was for Lysalis as well. She was a city in desperate need of a hero, a damsel in distress. Ridley had been a damsel in distress. Ridley now rested in a morgue, waiting for burial arrangements to be made. Her parents were already on their way from Mecca. To add to the death toll, Viper had died while killing Ridley. David assumed the two had struggled, but he wasn't sure what Sean was doing the whole time this was going on. To rub salt into the wound that Ridley's death left on David, Sean was on the run, missing since the incident at Viper's home. Everything had unraveled. I should have listened to Veronica and pulled Sean out when I had the chance, he thought. Ridley would still be alive. Viper would still be alive. The air in here wouldn't feel so thick. David took a seat on his sofa and thought about the could-have-beens and would-have-beens had he taken action on Veronica's advice. A melodious chime rang out from David's desk. He stood to his feet, curious who would be calling him directly at 3 a.m. He picked up the receiver and took a seat in his leather chair. Hello? David, put your comm unit in. Squirrel? The call disconnected. David opened his desk drawer and pulled out a small plastic case that housed one of the comm units that he and his team had been using. He stuck the unit in his right ear and waited. David? Squirrel's voice chimed in the earpiece. What's going on? David asked. I needed to hack into this line, Squirrel said. Your landlines might be compromised. Listen, I thought you might want to know that a fire alarm was activated at the Moorvaine Health Institute. I know you've been trying to keep tabs on Scarlet Rogue, and I know the last place you saw her was in there, so I figured I'd call to let you know. How do you know this? I've been keeping tabs on the facility ever since you had me research those symbols. Over the past few days, there have been massive intermittent energy spikes emanating from within the facility, but I haven't been able to pinpoint their exact source. I'm assuming one of them sparked off a fire, but that's just a theory. I'll head over there right away, David said. Thank you, Squirrel. Let me know if you need anything while you're over there. I've been trying to research the symbols you found on Scarlet's wall further, but I haven't made much progress. As I said before, the only connection I can find is to the Black Door phenomenon, but that in itself is just a theory. I'll keep in touch if I need anything, David said. I'll keep this comm unit on me. Okay, Squirrel answered. I'll try to keep tabs on the facility in case I catch another energy surge. David glanced down into his open desk drawer and saw his boomerang there, bloodstains skirting the tip of the weapon. David stood out of his chair and took the boomerang from the drawer. He shoved it into his back pocket. He took his black leather jacket from the back of the chair and slipped it on, knowing the late-night hour would bring cold to Lysalis. As tired as he was, David's first thought was to contact Ridley to accompany him to the facility. When he remembered that Ridley was dead, sorrow gripped his spirit. He shook himself from the icy embrace and headed down to the parking garage where he took an SUV and headed to the Moorvaine Health Institute. When David arrived at the Institute, he parked on the dirt path that circled the stone fountain resembling Arcturus the Beautiful. The blue and green lights that shone upon the stone monolith had been turned off, leaving the statue in shadows cast from the large brick building before it. David made sure his pulse pistol was firmly in its holster before exiting the vehicle. His ears could not pick up the sound of a fire alarm at all, but his gut told him something was off about the building. He double-checked the boomerang in his back pocket and made sure the comm unit was snug in his ear before passing through the front doors. The lobby sat in silence, dim emergency lighting still illuminating the orderly who sat behind the desk. She stood from her chair and put her hand out. "You can't go any further." David withdrew his pulse pistol and aimed it at her chest. "Open that door or I'll open it myself." "You can't go back there," she shouted. "They don't want anyone back there right now. If I open the door and she gets out, they'll have my head." "If who gets out? Scarlet?" The orderly waved her arms in a panic. "You can shoot me if you must, but I'm not." David rushed behind the front counter and pressed a small button installed beneath the surface of the desk. The white door to his left opened, clearing the path for him to explore the Institute. He passed into the corridor as the door slammed shut behind him. Foul air hit him with full force, nearly stopping him in his tracks. The scent of human feces permeated the tight space, leaving little to the imagination of what was causing it. He traveled straight to the room he had found Scarlet in earlier, but when he opened the door he found the room barren. Only the blue scribbles and swirls Scarlet had decorated the walls with before his last visit gave the room any kind of design element. Even the chair she had been tied to last time was gone. He stepped out of the room, curious as to what was going on deeper into the facility. He continued down the hallway, passing room after room, the walls covered in black marks and multicolored stains. No guards stopped him, no men in scrubs called him names. The place seemed to be abandoned, but David knew that couldn't be right. Why would the orderly try to block me from entering the facility if there isn't something she doesn't want found, he wondered. Then again, this could be another trap. David reached the end of the hallway and passed through another door that expanded into another hallway full of doors and rooms and emptiness. At the end of this hallway, he found a T-branch with signs on the wall indicating that if he went left, he would reach the cafeteria, and if he went right, he would find the storage facility. Instinct told him to head to the storage facility. He felt something grab the back of his jacket and pull him to the nearest wall. Scarlet pushed him up against the wall and covered his mouth with her bandaged hand. "Quiet," she whispered. Her eyes, which were no longer swollen, scanned the hallway. "Did you see anyone on your way here?" David gripped her wrist and gently moved her hand away from his mouth. "No." "What are you doing, Scarlet?" He slid his pulse pistol back into its holster. She looked him in the eyes, a small grin forming in the corner of her mouth. "I knew you'd eventually come for me." "I didn't come for you, Scarlet. I came because someone or something tripped the fire alarm." Her grin widened as she took her hands off him. Her bare arms and legs looked alabaster white in the blood-stained gown, and David noticed that she still carried a little piece of blue chalk in her ear. "It was me," she said. "I tripped their silent alarm, hoping you would find out and come here to investigate. They're hunting me, David." She took his hand and led him around the corner in the direction of the storage rooms. "I have one chance at this. I have to show you what they've been doing. You're the only one who might be able to do something about it." "There's no fire?" David asked. She shook her head. "No fire." "What is this all about, Scarlet? I'm still investigating this place. I can't just help you escape." She halted in the middle of the hallway and spun around toward him. "I didn't bring you here to break me out, David. I brought you here to show you what they've been doing here. You have the ability to shut this place down. I know you have a friendship with the president. Please, just come with me." "Fine. I just hope we don't run into anyone." She led him further down the hallway until they reached a set of double doors. She pushed them open and pulled David into a massive room full of boxes and crates. They went beyond the room, moving forward until they reached a massive hole in the tile wall. Crumbling stones surrounded the gaping maw, and a warm breeze passed out of it. "What happened here?" Scarlet stepped over the piles of tile and stone and pulled him into a musty corridor made of gray stone walls. "It was the only way I could escape, David. The military was here, you know. A man from the military, or the government. I don't know. I'm trying to remember, but my memory is mottled. He had explosives with him for some reason. I think they were going to blow this place up, destroy any evidence that it even existed. I had to do what I did." "What did you do?" he asked. They traveled down the hallway, moving past motionless bodies on the floor, men and women in lab coats and security uniforms. At the very end of the hallway stood a black iron door. Scarlet took hold of the handle and turned to look at David. "You believed me, right? What I told you earlier about them beating me and the symbols?" He nodded. "I know something isn't right about this place," he said. "I knew you wouldn't lie to me about something like that. Do you believe me I didn't want to kill you on our second date?" "I do," he answered. She kissed him on the cheek. Then she pushed the door open to a circular room. The walls were lined with computers and control panels, sparks of blue and white electricity shooting off here and there. The sound of fans reverberated around the circular space, nearly drowning out all other sound in the room. In the center of the room, on a circular pedestal 3 steps high, stood a wooden door frame that reached 6 feet high. Scarlet tried to pull him toward the frame, but he yanked his hand out of her grip. "What is this?" Scarlet went to the door frame and ran her fingers down the inside of the right panel. "I'll show you, David." She stopped toward the bottom of the door frame and then pulled the blue chalk stick from her ear. "Brace yourself. I have no idea what's on the other side of this." "The other side of what?" She used the stick of chalk to scribble a symbol on the door frame. Once she was finished, she stepped back from the pedestal and waited near David. The fans stopped and the machines began to buzz and hum. Electric currents of brilliant white and dazzling blue arced between the 2 sides of the door frame until a door panel made of a shimmering black stone appeared. "A black door?" he asked. Scarlet nodded. "Yes, a real, true black door." "How?" "They used the symbols in my head to open the door. They put the symbols in my head, David, and made me memorize them. Then they forced me to write them out in the order my brain wanted me to write them out. The order they are written in is what determines what is on the other side of the door, but I have no idea how to interpret the symbols. I just scribbled out whatever was in my head. The government man wanted this final symbol from me, but I refused to give it to him." "David, I'm showing another energy surge at the facility," Squirrel squawked in his earpiece. David approached the pedestal and examined the door. Scarlet's symbols, a mountain, a snowflake, a lightning bolt, and various swirls and dashes, were indeed chalked out around the entire door panel. Scarlet approached the door and took hold of the silver knob. "Is that safe?" David asked. "It's my only escape, David." What are you talking about?" She turned the knob and pushed the door inward. David nearly stumbled backward when he saw the scene on the other side. A mountain rose up in the distance, darkness filling the sky around it. Dazzling white snow covered the top half of the mountain, while the bottom half glowed a bright cobalt color. What is that?" Scarlet turned to him and smiled, tears running down her face. "This is my only way out, short of death. I can get you out of here, Scarlet. I can get you to safety until we figure this whole thing out. I promise I won't let them hurt you." "You can't promise anything, David. The people who did this to me work in the highest places. They will find me. They will drug me, beat me, and use my brain as a key for their black door. I can't let them do that. You can't let them do that. These doors open to dangerous places." "Close the door," David said. She shook her head and put one foot through the doorway. "I would ask you to come, but I already know your answer. You're a hero, but you're Anatia's hero, not mine. Even after what I did to you, you gave me a second chance. You didn't give up on me. I will always love you for that. In my heart of hearts, I'll always imagine you as my personal hero. Remember me, will you? In your darkest hour, remember the good time we had before I was forced to poison you." "We can get out of here if we leave now," David said. She grinned. "You try so hard to save others, you know. But I don't need saving. This is my choice. I chose to summon you here so you can see what's happening right under your nose. This isn't the only facility. I know that for a fact. Maybe someday you can shut them all down. I don't know. All I do know is that you better get out of here as soon as you can. The man from the government left after I escaped. The remainder of the security team thinks I'm in the cafeteria. That's why nobody is here guarding this thing. They don't even have to know that I stepped through this doorway. I can just disappear and start over. They'll know you're missing," David said. "They won't stop searching for you." "Explosives have been placed in key parts of this facility, David." She opened her tight-fisted hand to reveal a small LCD screen with a timer on it. She handed the screen to David. "Get out while you can." 3 minutes? He peered through the doorway again, curious as to where the mountain was located. He briefly thought about following Scarlet through, but Vector's warning not to follow after Scarlet came back to slap him to his senses. Scarlet moved past the threshold and stepped foot in the empty valley surrounding the mountain. She smiled, and the black door slammed shut and disappeared. David turned and ran. Thank you for listening to the LZR Project. If you are interested in reading more of David's Expired Reality series, please check out the author's webpage at davidnalderman.com.